Heritage Month, and we felt it was appropriate for us to provide you with inspiration, and we're looking to the youth of our school district for that inspiration. Our first group under the leadership of Miss Richards at Babb Middle School. Stand up, Miss Richards. Everybody wants to see you. We want to welcome the students from Babb Middle School who will be doing presentation for you about Hispanic Heritage Month. So I turn the mic over to our young students.
Good evening, everyone. Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated from September 15 to October 15 every year in the United States. It was enacted into law in 1968 by President Johnson. We celebrate the contribution of Hispanic and Latinos that helped shape the form of the United States.
The theme for today, this pioneers of change shaping the future together. The theme brings together the spirits of innovation, resilience, and unity that defines the Hispanic experience.
El tema para el 2024 es Pioneros del Cambio, dando forma al futuro juntos. El tema reúne el espíritu de invocación, resiliencia y unidad que define la experiencia hispana.
We will introduce a few Hispanics that have embodied the spirit of this year's theme. They are hardworking and independent, have many in, in impact within the nation, either through education, medication, or ownership.
Students will learn about these pioneers that not only shaped the form in different areas such as technology, education, the arts, and medicine. A couple of them are
It's the best we got.
Sonia, Sonia Sotomayor, Jaime Escalante, César Chávez, Marian Ochoa.
we wish everyone a very happy Hispanic Heritage Month, and we wish that you guys learn a lot about our wonderful Latino and Hispanic culture here in Clayton County Public School. Que pasen muy buenas tardes y les deseamos una feliz mes de la herencia hispana. Gracias.
Once again, let's give these great young kids a great hand. They are Willie Duran. Let them know who you are. She's got your certificate over there. Jocelyn Delgado, Ismael Cuevas, and Abel Hernandez. We made a mistake on his certificate, and we're going to make sure he gets it tomorrow. But Abel, he's the one with the white hat on. I want to thank these students from Babb County. Thank you again. That's sort of a pre-entertainment for the start of the meeting. We anticipate the meeting will be starting shortly, so please hang in there. Gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the young lady who's going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Her name is Angie Escobar, and I'm going to invite her to come forward at this time. There she is. She's already here. She's a fourth grade student from Unidos Dual Language School. Okay? So this one out.
Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que ésta representa. Una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. You may sit down.
Great job. Thank you. And don't go too far because I'm sure the board's going to want to get a picture with you after we get with the other students that'll be performing here tonight. The importance of Hispanic Heritage Month will now be presented by Marlon Castro Barona and Amari Braswell, both of Forest Park High School.
Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear my voice? I like my voice. He said, I'll speak loud so everybody can hear me. Good evening, everyone. How we doing today? How we doing? Yeah. My bad. Hello. Is that better? I'm not sure so, but before we start, I would like for everybody to stand up. Y'all can stand up, please. I want to send some love out into the universe today. I just want y'all to, not too loud, but loud enough so everybody can hear y'all. I want y'all to just say thank you for waking up today, for this meeting to be coming together. So we're all having this meeting for the betterment of our future generations and things like that. So on the count of 3, we're going to say a big thank you. Just put it out there to the universe, good spirits and everything like that. But we're going to count down. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, thank you. Now give a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And that round of applause was for this gathering today, being able to come together, to wake up this morning, be blessed to even have this opportunity to be around each other. But y'all may be seated. I gonna keep y'all too long. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Without the mic? I like my voice. I don't know. Should I keep the microphone? Keep the microphone. Okay. Not so close. Okay. This is good. It's good right here. Okay. My name is Maury Braswell. I will be speaking on behalf of Forest Park High School about the importance of Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you. And this is Marlon Castro. She's my colleague, and she'll be giving the Spanish version of the speech that we'll be presenting today. Thank you. So, as we gather here today, it's important to reflect on the significance of Hispanic Heritage Month. Observed from September 15th to October 15th, this celebration honors the invaluable contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans to our culture, history, and society. Beyond this month, Hispanic heritage remains an essential part of our nation's identity. Hispanic heritage is rooted in community and family, values that emphasize strong bonds and support systems, not just within families, but throughout entire communities. These connections are central to the Hispanic culture and continue to enrich our broader society. Hispanic influence has touched every part of American life, from art and music to politics and science. The contributions of Hispanic Americans have shaped who we are as a nation. Leaders like Cesar Chavez and Sonia Sotomayor, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, have championed justice, while the vibrant rhythms of salsa and reggaeton remind us of our rich cultural impact. Most importantly, Hispanic heritage is a story of resilience, a legacy of overcoming challenges and rising above adversity with strength and pride. This spirit of perseverance continues to inspire us all, reminding us that our diversity is our strength. At Forest Park High School, we honor our Hispanic community by celebrating their culture and contributions year round. Recently, we held an assembly to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month with music, cultural attire, and dance, recognizing the history and beauty of the Hispanic experience. As we conclude, let's remember that Hispanic heritage is American heritage. It's woven into the fabric of our nation, and by celebrating it, we celebrate the strength and diversity that make us all proud to be a part of this country. Thank you. And Marlon Castro will now give the Spanish version of our speech.
Hello, everyone. Like he said, I'm Marlene Castro Berjona, and I have the Spanish version of the speech. Buenas noches a todos. Al reunirnos aquí hoy, es importante reflexionar sobre el significado del mes de la herencia hispana, que se celebra el 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre. Esta celebración honra las invaluables contribuciones de los hispanos y latinos estadounidenses a nuestra cultura, historia y sociedad. Pero más allá de este mes, la herencia hispana sigue siendo una parte esencial de la identidad de nuestra nación. La herencia hispana está arraigada en la comunidad y la familia. Valores que enfatizan los fuertes lazos y sistemas de apoyo, no solo dentro de las familias, sino en todas las comunidades. Estas conexiones son fundamentales en la cultura hispana y continúan enriqueciendo nuestra sociedad en general. La influencia hispana ha tocado a cada parte de la vida estadounidense, desde el arte y la música, la política y la ciencia. Las contribuciones de los hispanos han dado forma a lo que somos como nación. Líderes como César Chávez y Sonia Sotomayor han defendido la justicia, mientras que los vibrantes ritmos de la salsa y el reggaetón nos recuerdan el rico impacto cultural. Lo más importante es que la herencia hispana es una historia de resiliencia, un legado de superar desafíos y salir adelante con fortaleza y orgullo. Este espíritu de perseverancia continúa inspirándonos a todos, recordándonos de nuestra diversidad y nuestra fortaleza. En Forest Park High School honramos a nuestra comunidad hispana, celebrando su cultura y sus contribuciones durante todo el año. Recientemente realizamos una asamblea para iniciar el mes de la herencia hispana con música, vestimenta cultural y danza, reconociendo la historia y la belleza de la experiencia hispana. Al concluir, recordaremos que la herencia hispana es herencia estadounidense. Está entretejida en el tejido de nuestra nación y al celebrar, celebraremos la fortaleza y diversidad que nos hacen sentir orgullosos de ser parte de este país. Gracias por tenernos aquí el día de hoy. A continuación tenemos el grupo Los Animados. Now we will have the group Los Animados.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that great presentation. And now it's time for a guitar performance presented by the group Los Animados, which is comprised of Juan Valderes, Oscar Elias, and Victor Ortega, all from Forest Park High School.
I last spoke at the voters registration drive that we had at the convention center and yeah, Performing Arts Center. And I'm also in student council at Forestburg High School. I'm the vice president, and Marlon is actually our secretary for the student council. I'm not much of a reader, but I am trying to get into it because I feel like one of my issues right now is the fact that I'm not too good at articulating my thoughts. So that's something I'm trying to improve on. I take Boardroom classes, so I only really have one class at school, but I'll help in the front office with Tim's. This kind of year. most likely. So, see you Thursday. Oh, Mr. Corner, los animales, animados, and Dr. Colbert, Gutierrez, I'm going to pronounce that right, and then Israel. Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Smith, ladies and gentlemen. We have an interesting group of recognitions for tonight, and we hope that you will find it to be uplifting in some respects. For this first presentation, I would ask Senior Deputy Superintendent, Chief of Staff, Dr. Douglas Hendricks Sr., if he could come up front. Deputy Superintendent, Teaching and Learning and Strategic Improvement, Dr. Delphia Young. Senior Chief of School Improvement and Strategic Planning, Dr. Keith Colbert. Assistant Superintendent for High Schools, Mr. Derek Manning. CTAE Coordinator, Ms. Carrie Dean. And Lovejoy Principal, Mr. Kareem Sanders, if they would please join the board up front. And now for our special guest, I invite, representing the Procter Gamble Company, Ms. Bianca Burke, Ms. Julia Lovett, and Ms. Brianna Miles, if they would please come forward. Earlier this year, the district CTAE department, that's Career Technical Agricultural Education Department of Clayton County Public Schools, and Lovejoy High School received a very special gift. They were awarded $10,000 by the Procter Gamble Distributing LLC. This contribution will be used for CTAE groups within Clayton County Public Schools for financial assistance to be competitive at regional, state, and national STEM competitions. We thank Procter Gamble for their generosity.
Georgia, we just opened a new facility. I am the site admin and the community impact coordinator. So we've only been open for a little over a year, and we have funds in our budget to basically give out to nonprofits, schools, and make an impact in the community. And so we decided to give schools that were local. We decided to give Clayton County. They actually made the cut, and we decided to give them $10,000. So for Procter and Gamble, we are really rooted in the STEM and automations, logistics, and not only that, just making sure our future leaders are set up for success. And
Well, on behalf of Clayton County School District, board members, superintendent, CEO of school, Dr. Smith, cabinet leaders, we want to express our sincere gratitude to Procter and Gamble on behalf of Boardroom High School. This deeply rooted, profound investment that you all are making into Clayton County Public Schools, we greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Dr. Hendricks if he would remain, and Dr. Colbert, and Dr. That's it. And I would like to add to the group Deputy Superintendent Student Support Services, Dr. April Crawford. Director of Student Services, Dr. Angela Horson Collier. Director of Counseling, Enrollment, and Post-Secondary Readiness, Dr. Alicia Dunn. And Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Ms. Felicia Brown, if they would join the board up front. Tonight, the Clayton County Board of Education joins the Clayton County Public Schools in recognizing and commending members of the Student Support Services group. If they would stand and begin moving forward to the front. This group comprised the Barrow County Crisis Response Team. The team members consisted of social workers, counselors, nurses, and the student behavior health specialists who stepped into the breach and responded with extraordinary dedication and professionalism to begin the journey toward healing for Barrow County. The names that you see up on the board are the participating individuals in this group. They provided emotional, medical, and grief support to help create a safe space for those affected by the tragic incident at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. We are incredibly proud, especially of Amber Wade and Rasha Portis, who led the state team in designing and training the state crisis response team overall for Barrow County. We thank them for their time and their effort, but mostly we thank them for their caring and sensitive participation in this overall process. Thank you. Okay, all right. And before we move to our next recognition, we would like to take a moment to recognize an elected official, Sheriff Lavon and his wife. And we welcome her to be present for the event. And Hector Gutierrez, a city council member for, right, and an employee of the district. That's how I know him, as an employee of the district. Thank you again. We appreciate it. So we have two sets of board recognitions this evening. Our first set involves Ms. Victoria Williams, and we're going to ask her to assist with the presentation of plaques. These are individuals who are being recognized for their support of the second annual Back in School Bash during this past month. And we'll call them forward. And please remain forward until all names are called. Hector Gutierrez, Ward 3, Forest Park City Council. Demetrius Collins, Kathy Collins, House of Hope. Apostle and Pastor Richardson, Recharge Faith and Empowerment Ministries. Raymond Williams, Triple Garden Kung Fu Academy. Tanisha Dixon, City of Forest Park. Anthony Nash, ATL Projects. Javon Pinellas, JAP Institute of Hair Extensions. DJ Stoney, Stony Hill Entertainment. Sheriff Levon Allen of Pasco-King County. Wayne Brown, Atlanta Elite Slingshot Outlaws. And the following event volunteers. Tisha Lawrence, President of Clayton County Council of PTAs. The Tegra Camel. Erica Walker. Jennifer Lee. Regine Williams. Rajon. I'm sorry, Rajon Williams. That's not my fault. Dre Stantra. Nate Butler. Our final recognitions for the night involves board member Sabrina Hill. If she would step forward. Presentations. Ms. Hill would like to recognize the following individuals in grateful appreciation for compassionate support and collaborative efforts in serving the scholars, families, and the community in general. And she will assist in presenting the plaques. Our first group is homeless education. Would Sonia Davis, coordinator of homeless education department, please come forward? And we're going to call the members of her team to please come forward. You can come in. Too late. Ms. Davis's team consists of Sharika Miles, the administrative assistant, Chelsea Winfrey, data clerk, John McNeil, student navigator, Cassandra Brown Henry, student engagement specialist, Rosalind Samuels, student engagement specialist, and Stephanie Sims, student engagement specialist. Now, before the board leaves, we have a few other recognitions as requested by Ms. Hill. The first is a recognition for Dr. Angela Horson Collier and the Student Support Services Department. Dr. Collier, representing that department, will come forward. Staff. And any staff members that are here still, please come forward. The next group is for Dr. Gloria Duncan and the Professional Learning Department. Dr. Duncan is not here. She's on FMLA. If there is a representative of the Professional Learning Department present, please come forward to accept the plaque on behalf of your department. One more. And our final presentation of the evening is presented to the Department of Facility Services in recognition of outstanding service in keeping the facilities clean and inviting for students since the beginning of the school year. And if there's anybody else on the staff that is in the building, please come forward. Are you serious? Oh my God. Isn't it? Members of the board, that concludes our recognitions for this month. And we need to have Ms. Rice, Shakira Rice, if she would come forward, please.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Dr. Smith, all members of the board. As you know, our district-wide employee recognition program, You've Been Noticed, it kicked off at the beginning of the school year. So tonight is our first drawing for our August notices. Each month, a board member will be asked to pull the name. So this in this box is all of the notices that leaders gave out throughout the entire month of August. Now, once the name is pulled by each board member, we will go to that employee the very next day, first thing in the morning, and the employee will spin the wheel. The employee has an opportunity to have their mortgage or rent paid, their car payment paid, a staycation, a spa day, a designer bag, $500. And as you see, we put mortgage and rent payment on there multiple times to give them a chance to win that. And we would also like to thank Nija. They funded this program 100%. So, Ms. Gory, Dr. Gory, you'll pull the first name. You wanna- Yes. Oh, Wendy may not be in here. So Wendy Edwards is noticed by Daenerys Perryman Garrett for going above and beyond through your many efforts to add cohesiveness to the equity and compliance team and that there is uniformity and efficacy.
Thank
So we want to thank that person. I think I should have put my name. All right, everyone. We changed the order of the meeting, but welcome, everyone. And before I get started with the rest of the agenda, I want to recognize a few people here. First of all, let me call the board call to order by calling the roll, starting with Ms. Jasmine Bowles, District 1.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Mark Christmas.
Present.
District 3, Jesse Goree. District 4, Ms. Victoria Williams. District 5, Dr. D. Haney. District 6, Ms. Mary Baker.
Present.
District 7, Ms. Sabrina Hill.
Present.
District 8, Ms. Joy Taylor Cooper.
Present.
District 9, Mr. Benjamin Straker.
Present.
Superintendent, Dr. Anthony Smith.
Present.
Attorney, Mr. Clem Doyle. Board Liaison, Ms. Kim Blackwood. Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent and Board, Ms. Arlicia Battle. Ms. Don Blau, Administrative Assistant to the Deputy Chief Superintendent and Board. Yes, okay. Now, we've already recognized our very talented staff for something that they did, but I would like for us at this time to take a moment of silence because this past weekend was quite interesting. We have endured destruction by Mother Nature. We've lost lives, we've lost property, all of that, but all that are present here, we are still standing. So we want to take a moment of silence for the destruction and loss of life with Hurricane Helene, please. All right. We also lost one of our very valuable staff members, Ms. Kelly Johnson, who was an employee at Eddie White Middle School. So I also want to acknowledge her and the family. Take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now, we're a little preemptive with this one, but we do have someone sitting on the dais that will celebrate a birthday tomorrow. And that is none other than Mr. Mark Christmas. So we're going to say a happy early birthday to him. Mark, Mr. Christmas where is Mr. Christmas? Oh my goodness. All right, well, let me see. I can't remember. It's been so long since we had a meeting. We did acknowledge, there he is. We want to acknowledge the early birthday gentleman, Mr. Mark Christmas, whose birthday will be tomorrow. So we're going to say that again. Happy birthday, Mr. Christmas. All right. I think that I might have sent an email out. I can't remember. I know I sent it out, but we do have a Jaja down on the end of the dais. We have a new grandmother, Miss Joy Taylor Cooper. Try to make sure I'm having a senior moment. Okay. Some of the good stuff.
All right, so now we go ahead and get started with our meeting, starting with our ethics statement, which states, in accordance with Board Policy BH, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearance of such conflicts. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of such conflict with respect to any matter scheduled to come before the board at this meeting or appearing on our proposed agenda? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from participation in the matter involved. We need to adopt the agenda. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Mr. Christmas.
So moved, Madam
All
Chair.
right, I need a second. I see Ms. Cooper.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda. Please vote. And it is unanimous. All right. The next item on the agenda is public participation. Let me read the rules for that. The Clayton County Board of Education welcomes public participation and will hear any interested individual pursuant to the guidelines outlined in policy BCBI. Members of the public will not be allowed to discuss individual personnel issues or confidential student matters. Speakers must identify themselves and topics before speaking. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to speak, and time may not be yielded from one speaker to another. Board members will not respond to comments from speakers. The chairperson may respond as appropriate. Issues requiring possible action by the board may be added to a future agenda. Issues that may need to be addressed by the administration will be duly noted. Abusive language and our personal attacks will not be permitted. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the civility policy. All right, I have two people, Mr. Eddie Boyd. Is Mr. Boyd present?
Good evening. I appreciate you letting me speak tonight, Superintendent, board members, board members.
Speaking to the microphone.
Yes. I have a concern that I think we can put our heads together and work on, and it's
Can't hear you.
I said one of the things I want to bring to the board's attention that I think we can work on collectively is the rights of maybe part-time workers or people that don't have certification, because it can put them in a very awkward position, right? Having due process is very important and is a cornerstone of our country, because someone can be accused of something and it cannot get it right, or there's more to it, to a situation. And I'm asking the board to consider with maybe changing the G policies that employees have the ability to defend themselves or appeal a decision, so it can maybe an outside body that can relook at a situation with clear eyes. Dealing with in an education space is important that we have continuity for our students. And if for some reason an employee is be very politically correct, is has a consequence and they end up going to another district, right? It's not just that employment status for that individual, but all those students that they have developed a relationship with, and it can be devastating. It can take one of our students to open up and we see the bright light that's in our students because of one teacher or actually a support staff. It could be someone, a custodian, right? That helps them to open up. And with everything that's going on with teacher salaries and people are getting pulled from one area to the next, and then in the employee market is very competitive. Someone can walk away when it can be a very valuable asset. And having due process I think is needed in all spaces and all particular uh, positions in our county. And I'm asking that we consider changing that so we can have due process. And that's about it. And I appreciate you for giving me the time tonight. And yeah, I hope everybody have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. The next thing that I have on the list is Connie Shiley. Did I pronounce your name correct?
You said Sheely.
Okay.
First, I'd like to say I'm a graduate of Forest Park High School. Go Panthers. And I live in River's Edge subdivision next to a water retention pond, which hasn't been maintained in many years. Somehow, after many phone calls, I was connected with the Mr. Wynn, the deputy director of Clayton County. He actually came out to my house that afternoon and brought me paperwork showing me that the school owned the property. And he told me to go talk with the principal at River's Edge Elementary. So I went up there and I talked to Dr. Harris, expressing my concern. She got in touch with the maintenance department and they came out and cut the grass that was so overgrown around the pond only, not inside the retention. I talked to one of the gentlemen and he said that they would be back when it dried out because they had heavy equipment to bring in, but they never came. My husband and another neighbor cuts the grass out in front of the retention pond because it gets so high, and when they cut the grass at the school, they don't cut the grass in front of the street. There's a sidewalk that goes up to the school that way, and it's very scary. If I had kids, they would not use that sidewalk because it's so bad. I have grandkids and pets, and I'm afraid them to go outside because we've had so many snakes and rodents in our yard coming from the retention pond. We have lived in the area for 29 years, and the school used to take care of the property themselves, and there were no issues. They've turned it over to contractors to maintain the property, and it's been nothing but a mess. Somebody needs to do their job and clean the property and quit just putting a Band-Aid on it. We need it maintained. We have little ones at our house, and we're tired of killing snakes and chasing off critters. And I've got a copy of that, this, and a few of these. That is very unpleasant.
Yes. Let us see. Thank you. You want to get it? You got it? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Smith is going to take care of that. Okay. All right. That concludes our public participation.
No. I got it. We're gonna take care of it. I'm gonna go down there.
The next item on the agenda is our executive session recommendations. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, staff, and community members. I would like for the board to consider a couple of positions tonight. First being the assistant principal position at Smith Elementary School. And I would like for the board to consider Robertino Maddox for that position. I may have mispronounced it, Robertina.
Board members, at this time, we need a motion for the superintendent's recommendation of Robertina Maddox as the assistant principal at Smith Elementary School. Mr. Straker.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for Ms. Robertina for assistant principal of Smith Elementary.
All right, I need a second. Ms. Cooper.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. Please vote. It is a unanimous vote.
Thank you. Is Ms. Maddox in Audience, please stand and be recognized, and congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, board members. I appreciate that. I would also like for the board to consider for the position of Director of Technical Operations, Mr. William Bill Pitt.
Board members, I need a motion for the superintendent's recommendation of Mr. William Bill Pitt as the Director of Technical Operations. Ms. Bowles.
I move that we support the superintendent's recommendation for Mr. Pitt to become the Director of Tech Operations.
I need a second. Ms. Hill.
I second, Madam Chair.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the superintendent's recommendation. Please vote. All right, and it is a unanimous vote.
Mr. Pitt, thank you so much, board. Mr. Pitt, President, please stand and be recognized. Congratulations, young man. Congratulations. Thank you, board. Those are my recommendations for tonight.
All right, we also discussed land acquisition, and at this time, we need a motion for the recommendation of the easement on Over Exmorrow Road. Ms. Baker. All right, I need a second. Mr. Straker.
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the easement at Old Rexmar Road. All right, and the vote is 8 in favor and 1 abstention. Motion passed. All right, now we do need to have a picture with our new our people who have just been promoted, and we need a correct pronunciation for Miss Maddox's name.
Congratulations.
The next item on the agenda are announcements.
For October. October is home to the final portion of Hispanic Heritage Month and the beginning of National Dropout Prevention Month, National Bully Prevention Month, and National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. During the month of October, the district's Department of Counseling, Enrollment, and Post-Secondary Readiness will host its College, Career, and Life Readiness Thursdays initiative. During these 60-minute virtual sessions, beginning at 6 p.m., CCPS families and students will be provided with information and resources from partner four-year colleges and universities, technical colleges, career-focused programs, workforce readiness, and more to ensure students' successful transition into their post-secondary pursuits. For additional information, please visit the Counseling, Enrollment, and Post-Secondary Readiness Department's webpage.
All schools and offices will be closed for fall break beginning Monday, October 7th and continuing through Friday, October 11th. Students and district employees will resume a regular schedule on Monday, October 14th. In an effort to recognize the work of cafeteria workers throughout Clayton County Public Schools, the district's schools lunchroom will celebrate National School Lunch Week from October 14th through the 19th, 2024. The fun and creative campaign theme, School Lunch Pirates, Find Your Treasure, highlights the importance of a healthy school lunch to a student's success, both in and out of the classroom. Balanced nutrition throughout the day contributes to student success. National School Lunch Week will highlight the nutritious foods daily available at CCPS schools. A nutritious school lunch can help us all protect our treasures by eating powerful proteins, boost our health with healthy fruits and vegetables, hydrate and revive with milk and juice, and win by eating whole grains.
National School Bus Safety Week is October 21st through October 25th. The theme for this year is Safety First, Safety Always. In addition to focusing on school bus safety, this is the week that we appreciate and celebrate school bus drivers and monitors for their hard work and dedication. Parents and students are encouraged to thank their drivers and monitors for the service they provide.
Beginning Wednesday, October 23rd and continuing through October 31st, the district will be observing National Red Ribbon Week. School counselors will engage elementary, middle, and high school students in classroom lessons and school-wide activities for Red Ribbon Week 2024 that encompasses the theme, Be Life is a Movie, Film Drug-Free. Clayton County Public Schools encourages students, parents, community organizations, and local businesses to join our Red Ribbon Week 2024 campaign to build a better tomorrow today by increasing awareness and living drug-free.
On Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, Clayton County Public Schools will host an ACT District Testing Day for those juniors interested in taking the college entrance exam. ACT District Testing Day allows juniors to take the test during a school day. This eliminates potential transportation issues to test sites that provide a familiar testing environment. The district also covers the cost of the test. More than 1,500 juniors have already registered to take the test on October 23rd. Clayton County Public Schools will administer a digital version of PSAT October 9th and PSAT NMSQT, also on Wednesday, October 23rd. Testing involves all 9th graders, 10th graders, and 11th graders who could possibly qualify for the National Merit Scholarship.
Also on Wednesday, October 23rd, the district's World Language Department will sponsor the second annual Spanish Spelling Bee competition for students in grade 4 through 8. The bee will begin at 10 a.m. and will be held at Morrow Center, 1180 South Lake Circle, Morrow. Applications for the district's magnet program will open Wednesday, November 1st and will remain open through Friday, December 2nd. Magnet application assistance will be available on Wednesday, November 1st, 9:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. and on Saturday, November 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Locations for these assistance sessions will be announced when confirmed. No appointment is needed. Please see the district's website for other magnet assistant dates, times, and locations. Tuesday, November 5th is General Election Day. Schools will not be in session on this day, nor are employees scheduled for work. The district will return to its regular schedule on Wednesday, November 6th.
The November board meeting will take place on Monday, November 4th. The meeting will be held in the boardroom of the school administration complex. It will begin at 6 p.m.
Madam Chair, that concludes tonight's announcements.
Thank you, students from the Utopian High School. The next item that we have on on our agenda are the minutes from the board work session, board meeting August 26, 2024. At this time, do we have any corrections, deletions, or additions that we need to add to those minutes? All right, seeing none, we will accept them as presented. Next item on the agenda are updates to the board, and I will turn it over to you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could ask Dr. Delphia Young to please come forward to provide updates. Thank you. All right.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, board members, cabinet, and members of our community. My name is Tanya Clark. I'm your coordinator for secondary mathematics.
And I am Dr. Valerie Bennett, an assistant professor at Clark Atlanta University and the director of graduate teacher education.
We are before you today to bring you an update about our Noyce Teacher Scholarship Program in partnership with Clark Atlanta University. In 2022, we launched we were granted $2.68 million from the Noyce Foundation, from the Noyce Scholarship Program under the National Science Foundation in order to support the increase in secondary STEM teachers in Clayton County and Genesis Innovation Academy. In 2023, we launched our first cohort of seven teacher fellows, and those are the teacher fellows in the stoles that you see in the picture in front of you at their congratulatory graduation at Clark Atlanta University as they completed the one-year program that they started last year. Thank you. 5 of the 7 have completely finished the program. 2 are scheduled to be finished in December. So all 7 will be finished by next semester. There we go. Okay. The Noyce program is a partnership between Clark Atlanta University, Clayton County Public Schools, Genesis Innovation Academy, the Atlanta Algebra Project, and Young People's Project. It offers a 13-month Masters of Art in Teaching program to STEM majors who are looking for a master's degree and would like to be certified to teach secondary mathematics. These fellows earn a full master's degree from Clark Atlanta University at no cost. They also receive an additional stipend on top of that Dr. Bennett will talk about in just a moment. The goal of the project is to recruit, prepare, support, and to retain. Our goal is to ensure that we support the well-being of at least 19 STEM teachers that we call teaching fellows, using multidimensional mentorship, teacher and leadership training, and well-being and social emotional health coaching. The project ultimately seeks to help improve secondary student STEM performance, particularly in mathematics, in both Clayton County Public Schools and Genesis Innovation Academy.
So in addition to them receiving their master's in teaching and mathematics, the teachers are required to be hired. Well, they are employed by Clayton County, but they must spend a minimum of 4 years. That's the commitment for them to stay within the school district to continue to support those wonderful students. Okay. Okay. So in addition to having their tuition totally paid for, this is the additional exciting part, is that they get $12,000 on top of their teacher salary. Yes, yes. So we are excited about that, and that continues after they are fully employed into the school. So they receive that $12,000 stipend while they're in the program, in addition to when they are fully employed and are certified as our teacher fellows in Clayton County Schools. Okay. So we have 5 teacher fellow scholars who are in the program right now. They were here, but they have gone home to finish studying. And we also want to make sure that you know that we have 5 additional in our next cohort coming up for next year. And we do plan on applying for an additional 3 years to continue this program. We also want to recognize the Dean of the School of Education at Clark Atlanta University, Dean J. Fidel Turner, who is here, if he can please stand. He has been extremely supportive, and we are excited about what we can do in Clayton County. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Christmas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just got one question. So what happens if they don't stay 4 years?
So if they don't stay the 4 years, then they must pay that money back. And they signed an MOU with that understanding. So that is fully disclosed to them. They're aware of the ramifications of that. And so they must refund that money because it is government money.
The tuition and the 12?
Just the stipend must be refunded.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Cooper.
First of all, so you answered one of the questions that I had as far as the grant being renewable, and you said you're going to try to do it an additional 3 years. And then my colleague, Mr. Christmas, asked the other one. But one that I do have, how are they, the participants picked for this program?
You can speak to that.
So we have a recruitment process online as well as word of mouth. We have a website, and they apply. They apply to Clark Atlanta University specifically to the Noyce Scholarship, so that we know that they are specifically looking to be a part of this program. Once they apply, we go through an application. We go through their applications and make sure that they meet the requirements. They have to have a STEM undergrad degree in order to meet the requirements of the program. And then they have to have a certain GPA as well. And then we do an interview. So we have a team interview that we do to interview all of those who meet all of the application requirements. As long as they pass the interview part as well, we're looking to get on as many as we possibly can. So we had 7 last cohort, 5 in the current cohort that start this year, and we are looking to recruit another 11 in the 3rd cohort. And then we're looking to do another round after that.
Okay. And another question, and I guess it's kind of too early. Has the program been, have you done this program with any other school districts? And if so, do you have any data as to how well this program has worked?
So our program is focused on Clayton County, and we have another partner, Genesis Innovation Academy. So each university that applies for a Noyce fellowship, they focus on a particular district, but there are Noyce programs all over the country, actually. And we meet them at the math conferences, and so it's just great to see how it is grown. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Bowles. Oh, wait, Miss, we have another question.
That's okay. I won't be long. Mainly, thank you for this program. I'm a fan of all things pilots. Let's try it, pivot, try it again, improve it next time, just design thinking in all the ways. But my question is about the stipend before, during, and after the program. I think that is so cool. My question is, after they graduate and are employed, the stipend is still there, but for how long? In perpetuity?
For the 4 years that they have to commit.
Commit. So they're graduates of the program and with us for 4 years, and they receive that 12 each of those 4.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and we
Very
do
cool.
also include some financial training with them as a part of their wellness. We include financial training to help them think about that 12,000 per year that they will have for just those 5 years, and how can they use that to ensure that they are prepared at the end of that 5 years when that 12,000 is no longer paid.
And we will say that there are requirements for them to still receive that. We do have quarterly check-ins with them with their wellness coaches, so they still have to abide by certain stipulations.
Very cool model, and I hope we learn as much as we can from this initial cohort so that we can work together to scale it moving forward.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Do we have any of the cohorts, or did they leave after the event? Or do we have any here?
They were here, they left, they just left.
Oh, okay. They
They have
actually,
midterms this week, so they're studying.
right, yeah, they invited us to the reception uh, over at the cafe. So we have a group that they're already currently in our schools, doing a great job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Turner, the Dean of the department, and your staff, and we appreciate Clark Atlanta University with this partnership and the support that you have provided to the school district over many years. Thank you, sir.
Before you move on. And also, Dr. Clark still didn't, she didn't tell us about a record that we're about to break very quickly. Ms. Clark, tell the board. I'm sorry, what did I call you? Dr. Clark, Dr. Clark.
The math department, the fine arts department, and Arts Clayton partnered up about a week ago on a world record to break the record in the most people participating in an art class. And we used tessellations, which is a geometric design, in order to bring this art class together. And we did break one of the records. We're still getting it confirmed by Guinness, but we need to have 250 to participate in the art class. We had 377. So we are looking for Clayton County to be in Guinness World Records.
Thank you, Dr. Clark.
Okay, board members, I would like to call up Dr. Crawford, Dr. April Crawford from the Student Support Services Division for an update.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Smith. As you're aware, attendance is a priority in our district, and we must be in school for our students. The students must be in school to learn. So today we'll have Dr. Angela Harrison Collier to provide an update on student attendance. And following that, in the interest of the time, after her, we will have Dr. Sherry Ann Taylor and Dr. Ralph Simpson to share an update on student and employee well-being and school safety, which is our top priority. These two go hand in hand in Clayton County Public Schools, and it's a priority for us, and we will continue to have it as part of our continuous improvement process. Dr. Taylor? Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Goree, Vice Chair, Mr. Stryker, members of the board, and our Superintendent, Dr. Smith. I'm happy to provide you with some update information, especially as we round out the month of September of Attendance Awareness Month, where we stand as it relates to student attendance and the steps and initiatives that we're taking this year to meet our targets. Well, let's get, as if a battery go out on me. There we go. Okay, so again, I am here to provide you with some key updates. And first of all, I want to start off saying that attendance is a whole school, whole district, whole community approach in order for us to meet key targets for our comprehensive plan around attendance. So it involves key partners in our district office, it involves our school students, parents, and the community as a whole. We have four key priorities that we operate from, but I want to bring to your attention one of our key priorities this year is to enhance our district-wide attendance improvement by 5 percentage points from 92% to 97%. And that is a target that we are aggressively moving toward this year. I want to first start off sharing with you the attendance for the first 30 days of last school year and the attendance where we are for the first 30 days of this school year. But the great thing about this is that we're moving in the right direction. From August to September to date, we have made a 1.5 percentage point increase in our attendance percentage from August to September. In August, we were at 93.81%. Now we have made strides above that to where we have gained a 1 percentage point increase in our overall student attendance. Why is this important? Well, this is important because attendance and achievement go hand in hand. So therefore, when we look at our attendance, and I think you have before you a little card, which we call it our stoplight. So when we look at attendance, it's very important to keep in mind that when a student misses at least 9 days of school, look at the number of lessons a student missed when they miss just simply 9 days of school. They miss 50 lessons. On an average, we tend to think that 90 is a great place to be. When we look at this stoplight and we look at where we are currently with our attendance at a 93%, there is cause for concern. And because there is cause for concern, our attendance, our Achieve team has created a comprehensive attendance plan or framework that we will be operating from this year to increase our attendance. And that framework includes education, community engagement, targeted interventions for our school, in addition to marketing, which is key. The more we get the message out there, we will see changes in our student attendance. We have a comprehensive plan that our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Crawford, will share with you, which really outlines some key priorities and steps for us around, again, educational development, which is educating the whole community, which includes our school leaders, those that work in our schools, our social workers, our district leaders, parents, and even students themselves. So in order to change the trajectory that our attendance goes in, we believe that education is the key. And so when we talk about education, we're talking about awareness. We're talking about training and providing information for our stakeholders around attendance, looking at ways that we can improve our attendance by working together. Then we look at another piece, which is that community engagement, which is key. If you were out and about in the community, hopefully you've seen this month even yard signs in the communities at key businesses. So it's important that we connect with our community so that we can begin to address some of those barriers that might be hindering our students or impacting our students from coming to school. We're looking at ways to engage around mentorship and connecting with those key partners in our communities, even our faith-based community, our Department of Family and Children's Services and community centers. We have signs and information out in these locations so that we can connect with our families and our stakeholders in the community on a continuous basis. Also, targeted interventions are important. And that is something that we're doing strategically this year in our schools. Even we started this summer by working with key stakeholders in the juvenile courts, but that's just not the key. We're not looking to send children to juvenile court, we're looking to put into place interventions to help children to begin to address those issues and those needs that families might be having that are creating barriers for our children that impact them on a day-to-day basis from coming to school. So our school social workers do a needs assessment with our students when they get to a certain number of days, which is 5 days, to determine if there are barriers or things that are impacting our students. We also have this year, for the first time, we've been able to look at staffing, and we have a social worker that works specifically with truancy this year, that's out in the community 3 days a week, knocking on doors, finding out why children are not in school when they get to that 10-day mark. We don't want them to get there, but once they get there, we want to know, we want to connect with them and with the families to find out what are some of those barriers. And through that work, we're determining that there might be a need in that household that we can connect that family to so that that child can continue in school. We're also doing our parent truancy meetings. This is a program that we do in collaboration with our juvenile court to connect with families before we do a truancy petition for that child to go to have to stand before the judge. So we want to put in proactive steps and measures through interventions in our schools to connect with our families. The other thing that we're doing, and this is our new attendance tracker, and this is like a scorecard that every student in Clayton County has this scorecard. And this is a way for them to track their own attendance and for the parents to track it with them. But instead of me talking about it, I am going to allow one of our staff members, and we're ready, Kim, to, in this video, to share with you about this attendance tracker.
We are hot. That means we are here on time every day, ready to learn. And now we have a new device, parents, to help you track your child's attendance. We're going to send this home with your child today, and we want you to mark off any time your child is absent. Remember, the goal is no more than 1 day absent for every 25 days of instruction. We're going to let you all know when you can turn these back in for your child to be entered into a raffle for an amazing prize. Don't forget to be hot.
This is a major initiative this year, we believe, for our families so that they can keep up with what is going on with their child, for them to understand that when a child misses instructional time, the impact that it has on that child being successful. So again, we have placed this in the hand of every child in our school district. The other piece is around our marketing. And again, I indicated it's important that we get the message out in the community, that this is a community effort between the school district and our community stakeholders in our schools. So throughout the community, through our communications department, you will see these messages going out on a regular basis, encouraging school attendance, encouraging students to show up and stand out and to attend school regularly. Again, with the messaging of the impact of missing just 2 days out of a month will have on that child overall attendance. We have some marketing items that we have placed out, and you have a nice bag that we placed in your chair. Hopefully you have it, that has some of our marketing items that we're passing out at various events that we're giving to our students and to other stakeholders. Again, getting that message out about the value and the importance of attending school. And then finally, this is just a summary of some of the work that our Achieve team has done this past year to bring attendance to the forefront by providing incentives, and we're grateful for the number of incentives that our partners have provided us over the year so that we can then acknowledge our schools and acknowledge our students for not just perfect attendance, but improved attendance too as well. So Kim, thank you.
attendance. And we have our attendance dance this Friday, and I want to see it.
And we can't stress enough the importance of attend today, achieve tomorrow. Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. That concludes our piece on attendance. We'll be happy to answer any questions prior to the safety team coming up.
Dr. Haney.
This is a great presentation. The champion for this department, as y'all probably know. And I do like this, and I think this is very vital. I just had a question. The social worker and the truancy, the social worker and the truancy, how does that, how is the link there with the parent liaisons? What's the connection there? Because I know that at one particular school, the parent liaison is very involved, or two actually in my district, very involved with that. So I just want to know, how does that work with them?
One of the things that we stress is a whole school approach to attendance. And so that means everyone is involved. It is not a single person's responsibility, but it is a collaborative effort to begin to address what those concerns are, because students need to be in their seats to achieve. So there are teams at schools that involve sometimes a parent liaison, our student engagement specialists, counselors, social workers, a whole team coming together to begin to address those attendance concerns that are on the table for students, and that we stay on top of those concerns, that we don't wait until they get 15, 20 days, and we want to start addressing those at 3 and 5 days, and that communication still goes out at 3 days, and at 5 days we convene to have conversations to help determine what might be impacting that student's attendance. You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? I just want to make a statement in that you just said that all of those people play key roles. Parent liaisons, student engagement specialists, social workers, all of those things. And I think this board needs to keep that in mind in funding, because a lot of those positions that we even have right now, they were not funded for. The board added graduation coaches, and we don't get funded for a lot of our personnel. So we need to think about all of these people that play a major role in what goes on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Collier.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, board members, cabinet, and community. I'm going to present to you the updates on well-being, and then I will be joined by Dr. Ralph Simpson to present the remaining parts of the presentation. I want to start by beginning to emphasize that in Clayton County Public Schools, we are proactive. We provide interventions before there is a crisis. We have a comprehensive team of professionals that are located at every school: counselors, school nurses, school social workers, school psychologists, student behavior health specialists, behavior intervention specialists team up to form what is called the circle of support. This comprehensive team of people work. Physical, emotional, and family engagement are key components of the circle of support. I want to highlight that at the beginning of the inception in 2020, when we started to work with schools partnering to advance resilience and knowledge spark, we had 20 referrals that were processed and staffed. At the end of last year, we had 1,088 referrals that were staffed and accepted by our community agencies. This means that our most high-risk and critical students received support. 95% of those referrals were free. They came with the United Way grant funding, and so our families were not burdened with the cost of this service. Additionally, through the Georgia Department of Education grant, which brought to us last year 13 interns, we were able to provide 2,400 hours of school-based interventions free of cost through those interns. Because of the success of the program with Clark, Kennesaw, and Georgia State, we were awarded 25 interns this year. So that increases the support to our schools and at no cost to our families. Also want to talk about the proactive measure of our safety assessment. A safety assessment means that if a child identifies threats, harm to themselves, or a bullying incident, we go in as a support staff and do an investigation of that threat. We want to know if that child is in immediate danger to themselves or to someone else. Last year, we completed 1,583 of those safety assessments. That ties to the Spark referrals as well, because if you're a high referral, we refer you through Spark for immediate support. Want to also highlight that 900 gaggle referrals were directly reported and related to self-harm, violence, sexually inappropriate content, and drug use. Those 900 gaggle referrals come in all throughout the day, even at night. And we have a crisis team that works from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. to answer the calls with our safety and security officers. Lastly, we make sure that our staff is ready to work with our students through our annual suicide prevention training. The Jason Foundation is a state-approved training that we utilize in the district. We not only are proactive, but we're ready to respond. If there is an immediate crisis, the social work department leads our multidisciplinary team. Our school social workers are the crisis leads that lead our counselors, our school psychologists, our nurses, and our student behavior health specialists. So you have a multidisciplinary team. To date, we've had 8 crisis responses. To note, the biggest note that we have, our team responded in Barrow County and was instrumental in establishing not only the reentry for the teachers, but also returning to establish reentry for the students. We utilized our training to not only provide support, direct support, but also to leave the school trained. Lastly, on this slide, we have our wraparound services. Our wraparound services play a part in intervening as well, because those 4 community school hubs offer comprehensive support to their community. To date, we have 1 health center that is open that provides the community with mental health, physical support, but I want to note we'll have 3 that will open by the end of fall. These healthcare centers not only support the community, but also our teachers. We talked about the proactive measures, we talked about referrals as well, but just this slide highlights to date how many students have been served by the counselors, psychologists, student behavior health specialists, and social workers. Just highlighting that the individual student interventions for some of our groups have exceeded 1,000. Our circle of support referrals, those deal with those emergency cases when you're talking about students who are coming in from a residential facility or having severe emotional disorders and they need to be immediately staffed. If you look at that circle of support activity, that directly relates to those students and immediate supports being brought to those students, right? So we're going now to talk about our activities. When you think about mental health and well-being supports, you have to create an environment in your school system where students know that they are accepted, which is highlighted in our Thrive Zone. They have to understand the behavior standards. Our community and our families have to understand the resources that are available to them, and that foundation is laid with our student handbook. We highlighted that we partner with community agencies here with Free Your Fields, the Department of Public Health. And lastly, our student voices are the most important voices to us. And so Sources of Strength is one of the organizations that works with us. And we also have our Be the Voice campaign through our school counselors. What would we be without employee wellness? Employee wellness is where we will wrap up and pass the mic over to discuss additional supports offered here through our safety and security department. Our employee wellness, we focus on the employee's health through our COVID vaccines, being able to allow our employees to go to the community health centers. We make sure that financial literacy is provided. We also focus on the immediate needs of the employee through our market and food pantries. We have a grant of $25,000, a mini grant that allows us to expand the wellness rooms that we had. We started with 11 prior to the grant. We now have 22 that will be established for our teachers. Our goal is for there to be a space in every school for our teachers to take a break, relax, and receive resources. Excuse me. We want to highlight that our Human Resources Department lays the foundation for employee wellness and ensuring that the EAP services that are available for our employees are utilized. Very proud of looking at the benchmark for the nation. We've surpassed using the services in the district. That means that our Human Resources Department makes sure all employees are aware, the services available to them, and we make sure that at the school level, if an employee is in crisis, that this resource is available right away. Excuse me. In transitioning, last grant that we're going to talk about, we have $245,000, the highest award that was received in the area of Safer Schools grant, awarded to Clayton County to be able to bring the work of safety and well-being together. We intend to have a school leader academy where our school leaders will be retrained in some crisis elements. They'll be able to be trained in crisis response and de-escalation. Before I pass the mic, are there any questions that you have for me? Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dr. Haney.
Commend you all on the 5K. After finishing the 5K, talking to some of the community, they were very impressed with it. They suggested, and Mr. Christmas, this was for you as well, that they are keeping up, surprisingly, with the adaptive sports. And they were like, I know one, I have her information, I'll get it to you all, Ms. Dr. Crawford. She wants to see something for them as of a 5K. Now, I don't know how that's going to work out, but something of that to get them out, to get them a little bit more exposed. They go to them games, they don't want their names exposed, but a lot of good feedback came from that. One other piece of feedback that came was the number of partners that were visible that were there. And so just having that conversation with those individuals while they were eating after we finished just shows how much that people are taking notice of what we're doing in a positive manner in this department. And I mean, that goes for all departments, but since we were at the 5K. So I just want to let you all know what you're doing has been very much noticed and appreciated for our children, especially for the mental case situations here. And they did suggest, and I told them Dr. Crawford was, she was chopping down, so I didn't want to disturb her at that time, but they would like to see something a little bit more often with the 5K. So, I mean, you guys have started something, so they obviously want to see it continue. And the added point was the free smoothie. So I just want to let you know what the community was telling me, and I told them I'll make sure I bring that to y'all's attention in this setting here. So keep it up.
Thank you, Dr. Haney, and thank you for supporting.
Oh, Ms. Williams.
I apologize, Ms. Williams.
How you doing? Quick question. This chart was for last year or for the beginning of this year? The one with the individual interventions, the small group referrals?
That is to date for this school year.
This school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Smith, community at large. I will briefly share some information that is obviously concerning to all as a result of what took place in the last couple of weeks ago. I'm not Dr. Walker, as you can see, but I am filling in for Dr. Walker. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. To not belabor the point, though, I do want to highlight just a few of the specifics relative to the emergency management operations and the management procedures as it relates to school safety. Some of these things, obviously, you've heard of, but certainly for our community, we want to make sure that everyone is aware and informed that Strategics, who we've partnered with for a number of years, is something that all of our teachers, all of our staff members actually in our schools have. It's a badge or panic button that any time or in the event of an emergency, all they have to do is hit that panic button and there's an immediate response that's directly correlated and aligned with all of our local law enforcement agencies, as well as, and most particularly, our school police department. Reunification plans is something that you may not have heard about or heard a lot about, but If you did spend some time looking at what took place as consider the aftermath of what took place at Appalachia, you saw a lot of students and people congregating on the football field. That was deemed obviously as their reunification plan or process. So there's not just kind of pick your child up at your leisure. There's a plan and a process. And we are actually in the process of undergoing training on what that looks like. So I wanted to make certain that I highlighted that. And then safety routines, I want to emphasize that. It's very important that we practice drills. Practice makes perfect. In order for us to become increasingly safe and for our schools to be prepared in the event that something takes place, then we have to practice. Now, you all know just as well as I, a drill today creates a panic and an alarm. Students and children, sometimes staff begin texting, begin calling parents and family, and then placing it on social media. And then obviously there's a panic. And so we have to prepare for that. Those conversations we're having, because no longer is a fire drill or a lockdown drill just a lockdown drill. Now we have to prepare for all of the aftermath and what takes place as a result of that, because children may not internalize it just as a drill. We want them to take it seriously. We do, and we want to approach it with that level of intentionality, because if not, in the event that something takes place, we don't want to think that this is just a drill. And so we are really spending a lot of time on these drills and preparing our schools for what that looks like. And I'll speak to it a little bit further in the next slide. Oops. Safe and secure learning environment with our school safety. A single point entry, which is a front door buzzer, we all experience that. Staff keys are required to enter buildings, staff photo badges, but visitor check-in and photo identification is critical. If visitors come to check in, you are not visitors, obviously, but they have to go through this device or machinery that we have in our buildings where they input their name or their ID, and then there's a printout of their picture, and they place that on their person as they are going throughout the building. Now, one of the things that I can appreciate most, and I'm certain the staff can as well, anytime we are in the building, because we have all access, but anytime I'm in the building and I don't enter through the front door, I'm looking to see if there's a staff member that's going to ask, why am I there? Who am I? Want to stop me. If someone doesn't stop me, that's an area of concern. Mm-hmm. And I stand here boldly and confidently and stating to you that every single time I'm stopped, sometimes in a very, very harsh manner, but I'm okay with that because I want them to approach an intruder. And you don't necessarily, in my opinion, have to be extremely nice to an intruder, but we want to make certain that they are addressing these individuals. Questions asked, even the cabinet meeting, who has their ID badges? Everyone in our school that has a school district issued ID badge should have it on them on their person at all times, as well as that Centegix panic button at all times. That is very, very critical. And then our school exterior doors locked. And you all have heard a lot about this in this whole space of school shootings over the years. Doors being propped open. Mm-hmm. People allowing for people or others to come in through exit doors. Hypothetically, if a teacher is positioned in a classroom near an exit door or teachers, then at every class change, as teachers are asked to stand outside their class doors during transition, I need you to check that door. Mm-hmm. It's just 1 or 2 steps. It takes maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Just check that door. That's the responsibility of that staff member. I mean, every single class change, that's a very, very simple and easy responsibility to check that door and to make certain that that door is secured. And that's for every exterior door. We have to understand that we live in a day and time where not only is it the responsibility of the school police or school safety and security, it's the responsibility of the staff administration, that everyone should be concerned about their safety in that building so that no adult, no child, no one in that particular building will put themselves in danger. So it's the responsibility of every single individual in a school that safety and security is number one. And then lastly, this is an investment, and thanks to you all, the investments we've made with additional school resource officers, additional security that you see at your elementary schools, because for years there's been a concern about what about our elementary babies. where now you see when you pull up on our campuses that the security firm that we partnered with, they are there to greet you, they are there to meet you, but they're in front of that building. We want people coming on our campus, visitors, to see security when they enter our campuses. If not, when they approach the front door of that building, we want them to see someone in a blue uniform, whether it's light blue, whether it's dark blue, or whether it's black. We want them to see a uniform. We want them to know and understand that security is present in our schools. And then some other additional resources with radios, walkie-talkies, crisis response kits, gaggle. And there was one other resource that we have is Final Sight. Final Sight is what now we're getting notifications on school threats as, of course, you know, they have truly advanced since Appalachia, notifications anonymously that we'll get through this particular site. And so you may have gotten the notifications when you get them from Dr. Lee that there's a threat. Well, they're coming much more faster and at a rapid pace now because of resources like Final Sight. Anyone, regardless of whether they're school personnel or not, can go on this site when they hear any information about a possible school threat. So that is truly helping us out tremendously. And then the last thing I'll mention, as we talked about earlier, being prepared. We have a team that's being led by Mr. Thompson, Dr. Stacy Tolbert, Dr. Chief Walker, his team. It's an audit team where we will be going out and conducting safe school audits to make certain that every single school that has submitted an emergency preparedness plan that is required by GEMA, that they are doing every single thing that they say is in their plan. Now, I'll be honest with you. As a former principal, I had to complete that plan every single year during pre-planning. And during that time, I would go around and I would say, Ms. Hill, you know you're responsible for this. I need you to remember that when they come around to do that audit. But I'll be even more honest. There were some times that I put some names on that plan and I did not go over and share with them the responsibility had an emergency taken place. I'd be standing here and telling you a lie that if I didn't believe that that has happened, and that is happening. Our audit will reveal that because we will pull individuals' names that's on that plan to the side and ask them, we see that your name is on this emergency preparedness plan. Do you know and understand what your responsibilities are? And if that person does not, along with others, and they can't speak to the functionality of that plan, then they're going to be scored. Nothing less than 100 is good enough. Nothing less than a perfect score is good enough. If they don't have a perfect score, then we will be returning to that school and we will conduct another safe school audit to make certain that they are perfect and they have an understanding of every single thing that takes place and everyone's duties and responsibilities. That's how we're continuing to make our schools safer. Failure to prepare is like preparing to fail. Our goal is to be prepared. And we will spend the rest of this school year and every school year making certain that we are prepared. So with that being said, have any questions?
Let me add something to you. You mentioned schools. Don't forget office buildings.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't forget our office building. It's just like right now, do we know what to do if we had an emergency right now to come out of this boardroom?
Run.
And I would say that we don't. I'm gonna
You're
duck
right.
I'm ducking first,
You're right.
but we need to
Right.
and try to put him as my shield
That's-
over here. But we need
Good luck.
but we need to
You're right.
make
That's
certain
right.
that
I'll be taking
we have everything in place because we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
some new buildings and you know that we've acquired and we need plans there.
Yes,
But I want to thank you, you and Chief Walker and the whole presentation here because I wrote a couple of notes down here. And I don't know if you all paid attention when Dr. Clark came up and even mentioned in the cohorts for math that they have a wellness coach for those students that are in that cohort, teachers, I should say. And I noticed that in Henry County, they have wellness coaches in all of their schools. And, you know, that's not, they have rooms for the children, you know, whatever. Those aren't things that I'm not sure where we are. No, we've been trying to do it for our teachers. I'm not sure where we are, but these are all things that the board needs to look at when we're talking about our budget going forth, because we know that since we've had the pandemic, that mental health is like number one, and we're talking about safety. And I want to, I just want everybody to also know that there will be a article coming out. The Clayton News Daily just came and did a really great, thorough report on what Clayton County offers. Because mainly when you look at the news, they just talk about us having clear book bags. They don't understand that we were the first that had the Evolve, the Centetrix, all of that. So all of us should have those items. I see some lights, Ms. Hill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do want to just share the same sentiments that this was an amazing presentation. And it gives me great comfort because due to the climate of our nation and just the incident that happened with our children, to know that we are prepared and continue to be prepared for anything that may occur like this makes me feel good. And I want our community to hear this. A lot of times we talk about things, but it's not getting out to our community. So I do want to just highlight the whole attendance, from the attendance and understanding that our scholars being in their seat in order for them to achieve. And in making sure that they're in their seat, we want to make sure that they have a healthy learning environment, and that comes with safety. And we always want to safeguard our well-being from our scholars and our educators. So I just want to commend each of you for your presentation, for your thoroughness, and for the work that is already being done. So I can't say enough to hear these words under the circumstances and the importance of what has happened around us and what continues to be a threat to us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Baker.
I just want to say I was out on the West Coast when everything happened in Barrow County. And the question I kept getting, and I'm talking Central Oregon, Eastern Oregon, Northern California, was one, it's happened again. But then the news started saying, well, the schools are going to have to start having these alarms. And I went, well, first it was the clear backpacks. So I'm like, got them. The alarms got them. The detectors got them. And the people that I talked to is like, your school already has those? I said, yes, we do. Because, there's nothing more important than our babies. And so as much as we need to let our community know that we have some things, there are some things we need to keep to ourselves, because evil is evil and we don't need to tell all of our secrets. So I ask that we have some kind of respect for that when it comes to school levels and different things. And then the other part of that is when you say each person has a job, if Miss Hill's job is to do that door, I need to know that, because if Miss Hill's out and she's got a substitute, her substitute does not know that that is her job. And now that's probably my job. So we, as much as we have that plan of, yes, you need to do this, you need to be responsible, we need everybody needs to know who's got what job, because again, if somebody's out, something happens, we need somebody to step up. So I appreciate all, my mom used to come through the back door of my school when I was in grade school and never checked in at the front desk. And nothing ever happened. But our community has changed, our society has changed, and it's sad. But as a preschool teacher for 20 years, I'd do anything to protect my babies. So I appreciate all that you all do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Haney.
Thank you, Dr. Simpson and Security and Safety for this presentation. Going back to what Ms. Baker stated, you mentioned the audit team and the emergency plan, but I want to know how often will they be trained to ensure they're knowledgeable for the requirements of the audit? I just want to know how the frequency is going to be happening on that.
So, yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. Last week, we met with elementary principals and then middle and high school principals, and we went over with them the details of the audit, things to look for. That's nothing new. We've done that before, prior to. So prior to, it's almost like giving a test and not knowing what you're going to be tested on. So we've actually had meetings with them and gone over the specificity as it relates to the things in the audit that we will be looking for. That meeting took place last week. This Wednesday and Thursday, we're having two separate meetings though, for those that will be participating on the audit team, because there are some things they need to know what those look for as well. So the team will know, the audit team will know exactly what it is and those expectations as they go out to conduct those audits.
And also, your point about, like myself, I'll use me. I went to one middle school in District 5, and I was in there for a pen pal, and then I walked trying to find a student. And of course, I got stopped like, who are you? You know, and I admire that. I mean, it was kind of brash, but at the same time, I do admire that for the staff. And that's happened at several of the middle schools that I've attended, not just walking the schools, but just to know if they don't see me with the principal, like, who are you? So I can commend your team, Dr. Smith, as well as those superintendents in those areas for just making sure that happens, because it is some parents who I've seen just walk in and bypass the front desk as if, I have a comfort level here. And I think that we want that comfort to be there, but at the same time, due to the climate, as Ms. Hill stated, we just can't, afford that. So thank you again. Thank you, Chief, for ensuring that.
Ms. Bowes.
Good evening. I echo my colleagues' gratitude, and I actually don't have a question, just something to put on your radar. But due to what happened in Winder, the state is now considering ways to subsidize this expense for districts that don't have it, but they're trying to do it statewide. And so I just think when we already have strategics, what then would we invest school safety money in if there is a contribution to the funding formula next session based on this? So it's not something you have to have an answer for right now, but if we've got all the doors locked, we have strategics installed and in the hands of all our educators, what would be our next thing on our safety and security wish list that makes sense? So just to put that on your radar, if there's additional funding.
Yeah, we have a grocery list. We're ready for it.
I'm sure.
Are there any other questions? Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Simpson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, board members, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community. This evening, I will be presenting our monthly financial report as of August 31, 2024. So on the general fund budget, we had collected 3% of our budgeted revenues of $20,899,063. Of that, 154,000 is in local revenues, 1.6 in other local revenue. I'm sorry, 154,000 in local taxes, 1.6 in other local revenue, 19 million QBE state revenue, and 48,000 in federal revenue. We've expended 7.4% of our total expenditures at 52,163,657, and we're 16.7% through the fiscal year. So we're trending below our expenditures at this time. And I'll be happy to answer any questions on this slide if you have any.
Are there any questions? Go ahead.
The next slide is our SPOS revenue collections as of August 31st, 2024. These are funds that were actually collected in July, so there's a 1 month lag when we receive the funds. So in August, we received $5,846,540. That is about $482,000 more than we received at the same time last year, and $175,000 more than what we received in July. I also want just to call to your attention that year to date through August, we received $281,291,291,070. which exceeds the amount on the referendum. That was $280,250,000. And as you know, once we reach our the amount of the referendum, our SPLOST is terminated, but it terminates in the quarter that we reach. It doesn't terminate in that month. It goes to the end of that quarter, which is actually today. So we will collect SPLOST 6 through today, and we will collect an additional about $11 million above that amount that we can keep. The new SPLOST will begin on the first day of the next quarter, which is October the 1st, which is tomorrow, and we'll receive that first check in November. So in October, we'll receive the last check for SPLOST 6, which will be collected today. Any questions on the SPLOST?
Ms. Bowles.
Thank you for mentioning the rollover. That was really important, I think, for the community. My quick question is the cap for this SPLOST we've met. I'm curious if the cap for the next SPLOST is the same or if we edited or raised it. Is it 280 again?
No, it's higher than that. I don't remember the amount.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Joseph. And Ms. Bivens.
Okay.
Could you repeat what you said about the rollover? I'm not sure if the public can hear because it's still a little mumbly to me.
Okay, so we have the SPLOST 6 on the referendum that was approved by the voters. The amount was $280,250,000. Through July, which we received in August, we've collected $281,291,070, which exceeds what was on the referendum. State statute states that the imposition of the SPLOST terminates once you reach that collection. However, if it's in the middle of a quarter, you get to collect until the end of that quarter. So with this being July, that was the beginning of we were in the quarter. So we could collect through 9/30, which is today. That will, with the average collection of $5 million a month, that would give us an additional $11 million.
Which is why, board members, we, during SPLOST 7, we put a limit at 350 million versus the 280, because there's no penalty if you don't collect the full amount. But if you go beyond what you put in the referendum, you're limited with how you can use that funding.
That is correct. So had we reached this in June, then the new SPLOST would have started in July. Any questions on? Okay. So next we have, let's see what I have next. The budget amendment should be next. Hold on. I may have gone past it. Nope. Okay, so next, I think on the printed agenda is the budget amendments. You should have received in your board packet several budget amendments. As you know, I spoke to this last month. Our board policy DCK states that the level of spending may not exceed an amount budgeted for a particular fund without the board's approval. So all of these budget amendments that I gave you, several of them, or because of that, there are either grants that we're receiving. There may be carryover money for previous grants from last year for some of the special revenue funds. For you all, of course, I've had several questions about the jewel settlement money. You know, we received a pot of money last year. We budgeted what you needed to use it for the scholarships and some other items. So we received a call wanting to use some more funds. So we're budgeting $150,000 for that. So and that all of those increase our bottom line. So we have to get the board to approve those. So I don't know, because this is the first time this has been done in a few years, if you wanted me to go through each of them individually, or if you just want to approve them as presented in your board packet. I'm good with either way. And I'll answer any questions you may have on any of them.
Ms. Bowles.
I don't think we need them individually, but I will ask for protocol purposes, under what circumstances is a budget amendment necessary? Above what threshold or quota, or just any time there's a line item change?
Anytime there's an increase in the total expenditures of a particular fund, so if we're increasing anything for Fund 1000, we would have to bring it before the board. If we're increasing even the special revenue funds or decreasing, just a change in the bottom line, if it changes, we have to bring it before the board.
By 1 penny?
By 1 penny,
Love
I
it.
don't do
Okay.
pennies, by $1.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions? And as Ms. Bivens said, we actually did, in the past, we had done budget amendments. Mainly, we did them at the beginning of the next year.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you remember we used to do them, seem like mainly in January because our
At
numbers.
mid-year?
Yeah, so mid-year adjustment.
Okay. And then finally, we have it won't go this time, purchasing report. Okay. Oops. Thank you. So on the purchasing report, Report A is for consumable purchases made with a value of $10,000 or more. Report B are non-consumable purchases made with a value of $10,000 or more, but less than $100,000. And Report C are for non-consumable items with a value of $100,000 or more that require board approval as detailed in the executive summary. And we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have about any of the items that's listed on the purchasing report.
Ms. Cooper.
Hey, Ms. Bivens.
Good evening.
I see on the purchasing report, we had 2 entries from 2 vendors with the electronic buses. And I see that we're buying 47 and 28 from another vendor, which will give us the total of the 75 buses. So my question is, are there any other additional costs associated with this purchase? Meaning, I know the grant covers the majority of it. Or does it cover all of it, or will some more money have to come from somewhere else?
So for the purchase of the buses, the grant is covering the total purchasing price of the buses. And also we're able to use some of the funds from the second grant for some maintenance as personnel costs as well. I don't know if you recall or not, the first tranche of money that we got for the first grant did not allow us to use anything for personnel. So we would have had to have paid for mechanics to be able to work on those buses and repair them or anything. But the second round of funds that we received will allow us to use some of those funds for personnel, because that was a concern for me. You give me free money to buy the buses, but who's going to maintain them? So I can't think of Lonnie's last name. He told us that with the second round of money that we received, we were able to use some of those funds for personnel costs. But this is just for the buses only, and they're fully covered by the purchase of the buses is fully covered by the grant funds. You're welcome.
I want to follow up with that question. I mean, that Ms. Cooper raised now. My question is, I don't think we purchased all of the buses yet for the grants, or have we?
I don't believe we have, Ms. Howard.
I know that maybe transportation, but this is a question that I want to throw out. Although I know we all want to be green and say what it does for the air, but the reality is, I did go by the bus barn the other day asking to see one of the buses, and of course the bus drivers kind of gave me one of them looks like, number one, they don't want to drive them. And then number 2, they told me 2 of them just went out on the tow truck. So one thing that, we want those, we haven't received, I'm very concerned about the bill for fueling the electric buses. Have we received one yet? They do use fuel, they use electricity.
She's talking about the electricity.
That's what I'm talking about.
I will have to look to see if there's been any increase in the bill to compare them. I don't know right now, but I can look to see when we install those and when we begin using those, and do a comparison of the electricity costs of what we paid prior to that and what we're paying now.
Yeah,
And
there are some
to see if there's
concerns
any-
about how they work in the weather. We have not seen them yet work in the winter. So while, we're all we want clean air and all of that, we also, I think, need to be mindful of how efficient that they're going to be, because I think that first bill is going to be astronomical. And since we are out of the CARES money, because I know we use a lot of the CARES money for our own utilities, I'm really not looking forward to seeing what that bill is going to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair and members of the board, we will do a comprehensive evaluation of our implementation of EVs. It is a new phenomenon for us all, and we'll be paying attention to any increases in bills, any kind of concerns with maintenance, et cetera.
Yeah, I want us to use them, but I'm just being a little skeptical right now until we really get them right. I wanted to ask you about the purchasing report. Is the purchasing report actually in order this time? Because it just looked a little different. Normally, maybe I looked at it differently. Like, it seemed like I saw, normally we have like 0 through things that aren't board approved, and then it just seemed to be maybe a little.
Oh, you're talking about the report A? Report A is the one with the value of $10,000 or more. Report B, and it should be at the top. I thought it was.
Maybe it's just how it looked today when I looked at it, but I'm just checking.
It should be, but I'll look to confirm.
And then the difference could be because now do you have 2 different purchasing reports now? Can you split them?
Construction has one.
Right,
and
okay,
then
maybe that's
we have
it.
them for
Okay.
everything else. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Bivens.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Joseph.
Good evening once again, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith. You've received the SPLOST construction update, and for the month of September, there was a total payments of $12 million. There were no change orders for this period. Additionally, you received the capital purchase report for items purchases between $10,000 and $100,000. Are there any questions regarding the 2 reports?
I was looking back at costs for Forest Park Middle School. So are we down? Are we under the 82 million? Or
We are. So I remember when the board approved, they asked us to sort of value engineer the project. So we went through the exercise and did a deductive change order for $7 million. So we are below the original price. However, just to make the board aware, we have encountered a lot of rock. So there'll be an additional change order to add back up, but not to the magnitude of $7 million.
oh yeah, because I looked back a year ago, the cost was 65 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Ms. Albritton.
Madam Chair, I think my mic is out, but did we intend to do the budget calendar? We maybe we can.
We'll get back.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, other members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community members. The Personnel Changes Report summarizes all personnel actions for the period of August 13th through September 12th, 2024. Human Resources updates were submitted to the Board of Education for your review. I will reference our 4-year teacher vacancy data and highlight that there were 85 teacher vacancies as of September 19th. Hiring recommendations continue to be received and reviewed. I am happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Cooper.
Hey, Ms. Albritton.
Good evening.
I just wanted to take out the time to thank you and your staff for the hard work, because if anyone remembers the beginning of the year, we were up hundreds and hundreds of vacancies. So I think we need to stop now and acknowledge your team and yourself
Yes.
on the hard work. And thank you
Yes.
for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Ms. Bowles.
I don't need to repeat it. Miss Tillis Cooper summed it up. I think you have received more than plenty of questions, and some of them due, some of them as a result of our global teacher crisis. But you continue to do what you can, and this data is a testament to that. So just extended gratitude to you and your whole team.
Thank you.
I wanted to see if you could give us a little information on, I noticed we had our principals were visiting HR, I believe, last week. So can you expound on what that was all about as far as staffing is concerned?
Yes, we held our fall collaborative meetings. Those fall collaborative meetings offer an opportunity for the school leaders to rotate through different units in human resources. And it's essentially a state of their school as it relates to all things human resources. They get an opportunity to engage with our certification team to ensure that they know exactly which teachers have outstanding certification requirements. And that's really essential at this time of year because we're about to engage in CPI, and that's our funding mechanism for staff, very similar to what FTE does for students. In addition to engaging with certification, they had time with our staffing team, and that rotation made sure that what we reflect on their staff rosters equates to the actual teaching assignments and staff assignments of those in the building. After rotating between certification and staffing, they also engage with our performance management team. During that session, the leaders had an opportunity to review their teacher and leader support and development platform, and that's the platform that houses the TEKS and LEAKS data. And so the intent of that session was to ensure that all staff members who must maintain certification were there, and that they were on target with our evaluation deadline schedule. They also engage with another portion of our staffing team where we review their documents for the certification renewal process. So as you are aware, every 5 years, an educator's certificate expires. And in order to renew it, part of the responsibility is to engage in a background check. There are certain forms that have to be submitted for that. And so this year we tried a different approach, and we advanced our deadline so that those documents could be presented during the fall meetings, and all of that could be taken care of rather in partnership with safety and security well in advance of the certificates renewing. And also classified staff had to have a background check every 5 years. And so the school leaders were able to bring those documents as well. Our substitute management team was also present. At that rotation, substitutes were able to drop off their renewal with their background check forms for the 5-year process. In addition, schools that still have long-term substitutes were able to verify that those long-term substitutes were plotted accordingly in the frontline substitute management system. So in summary, it presented an opportunity for them to engage with about 5 of the HR teams just to make sure the state of the school in respect to our work was aligned.
And have we leveled everyone yet?
So the
Are
leveling,
we in the process? We've already done it.
yes, so the leveling process has been completed. Any staff transitions that needed to take place, those staff members were in their new location when we returned back from Labor Day.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tillis Cooper and board members for that acknowledgement. But I'd also like, in addition to the great work that Mrs. Albritton is doing, I'd like to acknowledge her team, Dr. Alve Tatum, Ms. Valerie Henderson, and Ms. Ursula Reed, that's also in the audience tonight. Thank y'all.
They're the hardest working team in show business, in the school business. Okay, Miss, are there any other questions? Okay, I think that Ms. Bivens needs to come back, but I also, before I forget, because of having a senior moment, I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting, but I do believe tomorrow is October the 1st. We already had mentioned Mr. Christmas, but I believe that there will be a 100th birthday for President Jimmy Carter tomorrow. And we want to acknowledge that for such a great leader and how the Lord has been with him. So come on, y'all, on the count of three, can we say happy birthday, Jimmy?
Yes.
President Jimmy Carter. On the count of three, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, President Jimmy Carter.
All right, I'm my little silly moment. Okay, come on back.
All right, thank you. So I was excited to get through it. Forgot we had to do this last one. It's the budget calendar for fiscal year 25-26. I can't believe it's 2026 already almost. This budget calendar, as approved annually by the board, provides a planning tool for the development of the ensuing year's budget. It guides the district through the budget process by ensuring that essential timelines are met while providing flexibility to accommodate the actions of the legislature and other governments, local governments. This calendar will initiate the process for the FY 25-26 budget. We're actually going to start meeting with the departments when we return back from the break. And just wanted to also let you know that we're going to be doing something a little differently this year. Traditionally, we take what was given the last year and let them add stuff to it. We're going to a zero-based budgeting where they have to build from the ground up this year. So just something a little different.
Okay, I think that Ms. Hill, didn't you send, you had a question about, or made a recommendation in your questioning today?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you so much. In the question, Ms. Bivens, as you recall, it was in reference to moving the date up possibly to April. And that was actually following my colleague, Ms. Bowles. And just because the month of May is so busy for our school district, and was wondering if we could consider that.
So the timeline that we have here shows a tentative adoption in April with us holding the hearings in May. And I understand what you're saying, but I don't know off the top of my head when the session ends, because this is kind of built around the session and when we get our tax digest from the tax assessor's office also to make sure our revenue numbers are where they need to be to support our budget. We will pretty much probably be through in March, maybe early March, mid-March, with all the departments, but we just need to make sure our revenue is, we're getting what we need to operate to support our expenditures. And we may not have all of that, depends on what they do in the session, which is kind of why we do the final adoption. We can do it in May or June, but I just have to look and see what happens, during the session.
I certainly understand, but
Okay.
just wanted to, bring
Yes,
that
ma'am.
just to allow us to have a more in-depth conversation surrounding some of the concerns that we experienced during our public hearing, and just want to be considerate of our constituents.
Yes, ma'am.
But thank you kindly.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Everything's, I think what was the date that you said though? You say, repeat what you said, because I don't have that email pulled up.
I didn't give a specific date.
I think she said
But
just
you
in
mentioned
April.
something in April though,
2024. I
didn't
said April 2024.
for the tentative,
Yes.
right? Okay, I think, okay, I see that you have that, because really we want to look at maybe, we're talking about tentative. This year, we must make certain that in March, we have a conversation. Because we didn't have that conversation in March. That was one of our problems. Ms. Bowles.
We just talked about this as recently as last week, so I wasn't going to mention it, assuming we had thought through this April date piece, but based on Ms. Hill's question, a few clarifying questions for you, Ms. Bivens. When you talk about session, are you referring to legislative session?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, those 40 non-consecutive days that start in January often end in April. usually maybe end of March at the latest, early to mid-April. And so what I want to acknowledge is I appreciate you rethinking the budget calendar. That's really important, especially to give us longer time. So based on all that I know, we're starting earlier and ending earlier, which is automatically a win already. What I think is really important, though, is the distinction you've made tonight between a tentative approval in April and then hearings in May. I'm not quite sure that achieves our goal if we're still having hearings in May based on, and just something to think about. I'm one of 9 up here. I'm just thinking out loud. I thought we were talking about getting our budget approved before graduation season, including not even having public hearings that late into the game. So let me know if that has evolved or you know something else about how the tax digest comes down from session after sine die.
So the tax digest actually comes as a local, that's why I said state and local, because we get that from local. But we have the first public hearing in April, and then tentatively, and then the second one in May, with the final adoption on May 5th is the tentative. That's what
May
we have
5th.
on here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's still pretty early into May. So you're saying public hearings and all of that
One
are
in April.
before?
Yes, one in April, and then actually April 14th was a tentative adoption. We get it published in the paper. We can have the first public hearing in April, towards the end of April, and then the other one toward May 1st, the first part of May, and do the adoption at the May 5th.
That sounds great.
That's
Thank
what we
you
have on
for
there. And it's flexible. We
taking a
can make some
moment.
changes. If I can move it back as we go through the process, we can move it, move the dates up to an earlier time. We can do that.
Love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, board members, since we need to vote on all of the items in the consent agenda, but since we do have those concerns about the budget calendar, instead of, Ms. Bivens, instead of us saying maybe that this is the budget calendar, maybe we might need to say this is the tentative budget calendar. Because I think we're all expressing some concerns here about when we place things. So we might just say this is tentative as well. Do we have so that we can change those? What, can we say that? What?
He said the budget count is actually optional, so if you say tentative, that should be fine. He said that the budget calendar is optional.
Well, but what's, so
But
it's
tentative is fine.
all right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
because we have some concerns here about dates on that calendar. And some of them I know you don't have any control over, because I was just reading the neighbor, whatever. It seems like I haven't seen my tax bill yet, and I saw some stories in the, whatever that neighborhood app is, that we're gonna get some big
And mine
surprises.
is in the mail, it's coming today.
Right.
I saw that.
Okay.
But I do want to note that at the bottom of the budget calendar, we do note that these dates are tentative.
Okay.
So when you do adopt, we can change it. either
Okay,
way,
well,
so.
we want to leave it like this, or do we want to say tentative? Which one?
It's not necessary to say it if you have it as a footnote on the current document that you gave us, right?
I'm sorry?
On the current document in which you've given us.
Yes.
The word tentative is on the bottom.
Yes,
of
at the very bottom of
Okay,
it
well,
states that
okay,
dates
we're-
are tentative and subject to change.
Okay, all right, well, we're good. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Ms.
You're
Bivens.
welcome.
Okay, so under the consent agenda, this is for action. We need to vote on it. So we need to, I need a motion for the consent agenda for the financial report, SPOS revenue report, budget amendments, purchasing report, budget calendar for fiscal year 2025, 2026, SPOS construction report, capital purchasing report, and personnel changes report. I think I saw Ms. Bowles like.
So moved, Madam Chair.
All right, and a second. Ms. Baker.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly a second that we accept the consent agenda. Please vote. Oh, do you have something?
Just a quick note, Madam Chair, I think we skipped the policy series G and M.
What? We haven't skipped it.
Oh, you're going to do the
We
consent
haven't made it there
agenda
yet.
and then the business agenda. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dole.
We haven't made it there yet. We're trying to get there. You're trying to get out of here.
Georgia doesn't play tonight, I don't believe, Mr. Dole.
Look, we thinking this. We on the same page. All right, I need some more votes. Ms. Hill, Mr. Straker, Ms. Dr. Haney.
Voting on the consent
Okay,
agenda.
it is 8-0. I get him. Okay, it's a unanimous vote. Okay. Now, Mr. Doyle, we're down here on the policies, the G policies. We had actually on the G policies, we actually had one of our board members send an email regarding actually a statement that we just had in public comment. And I wanted to speak to that has been an issue of myself. Now, we're on the third read and we do need to vote. But I wanted to offer this because I have an issue with with what we do with classified employees and what we do with certified. So basically, I guess I would say that we could pass what we have, but we can always bring back items. Is that not correct, Mr. Doyle? And the two things that I would like for us to bring back is what we do with our classified employees and what we do with certified. Because I noticed something that was presented in one of our presentations about, we have employee assistance plans, we have all of those types of things, and I don't understand why it is that we randomly get our employees, our classified employees, and let's just say maybe they celebrated their birthday the day before, and you just happen to randomly select them, and they go to do whatever. Maybe they take a breathalyzer or something or whatever, and there's something that's still there. You know, their intent was not to come to work intoxicated, but you know, it's still in your system. But now you can have a teacher do the same thing, but you're not going to walk up and randomly select a teacher. So I think we should at least give a person the opportunity to maybe we can refer them to a program, because maybe they have a problem or maybe they don't have a problem. But to me, that's just totally unfair. And when we're talking about trying to retain staff and we're trying to retain our employees, we're trying to, when we fire somebody, to me, that's a family. It's not just that one person. We're affecting a whole family, you know. So that's just my little spiel. And then the other thing is in regards to our transfer policy. You want to speak to that, Dr. Haney? Right. And I believe that Dr. Hendricks and Ms. Albritton, you all had actually sent us some information about making some changes, but we haven't been able to have the discussion. We had to, cancel 2 of our retreats, and, we haven't had that opportunity. So I'm all right with it if we want to come back and discuss those particular items. So what say the board?
So Madam Chair, are you saying that we pass these policies tonight and just bring them back after our discussion?
No, that's just G.
Right, for G.
And we can always come back and
Bring it
address
back,
them.
okay.
Yes. So we're looking for a motion. Ms. Baker.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the G policies as currently written.
Okay. Ms. Bowles.
Second.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Williams. All right, and they pass. We have a unanimous vote. We will address those other issues, okay, as needed. Okay, that's one down, Mr. Doyle. Now we need to go to the M policies. All right, Ms. Baker.
I move that we accept the M policies as written.
All right, Ms. Baker. Ms. Cooper.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All right, it's 8-0 unanimous vote. All right. Now we have business agenda. Have we missed something here?
Nope.
Now I want you all to be aware. I just sent you an email that when we were given the announcement said that our next board people would be in November, but it will be October 21st. So if you have topics that you need to that you want on the agenda, please send them. It'll be a work session. Yes. All right. I think that we covered everything.
Madam Chair, I'm looking at all of the agenda items, and it looks like we've covered absolutely everything.
Okay. I believe we're in adjournment. Thank you.